Hello, and thanks for tuning in to that news that comes your way at just this time. Yes, we are back with stories treated with the extra touch to spice up your Wednesday night. So much narratives trailing the coup in Niger, and we shall feed you in with the latest information around the Niger coup. Join us for some enlightenment on that. The path of dialogue is no doubt yielding results in the ongoing resident doctor strike. Find out what is new. The fight against drug abuse gets on the swing mode as two heavyweights, Africa's largest TV network, the NTA, and the NDLE join forces, just as correspondent on special assignment shines a spotlight on the Mental Health Act as a beacon of hope in addressing the nation's mental health challenges. Have you heard of Farinruwa waterfalls? Sit tight as we take you on a stress-relieving trip to the promising tourism site. Also on our lineup tonight are an array of special reports that would sure add value to your viewing time as we beam the searchlight on slums in the nation's capital that have become worrisome hideouts for criminals. Some states are up and doing with palliatives following subsidy removal. We have business and of course sports. This is just a tip actually of the iceberg, so sit back and get full compliments of this edition. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Elizabeth Omori and this is News Extra. Welcome. Government has inaugurated the reconstituted board and management of the Northeast Development Commission with a task to forge ahead a united front for the development of the region. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that Vice President Kashim Shettima made the plea at the inauguration of the board.
This commission serves as a conduit of hope, a vessel through which we channel our resolve, compassion, and resources to breathe life into the communities that have borne the brunt of the terror unleashed upon our land.
With the successes recorded by the management and board in the development of the Northeast region, President Bola Tinubu approved the reconstitution of the board. This is what developed the confidence of the federal government, especially the humanitarian tragedies the zone went through that led to the formation of the commission.
Your impressive financial discipline, fiscal discipline, and financial transparency, which have resulted in a credit balance of 229.9 billion naira in your corpus in the wake of the second quarter of 2023, are marks of the managerial expectations and character for which NEDC is known. We must restore the glories of the Northeast as a vast land of history and culture and crafts and industry. Our collective task is to erase these shadows of terrorism and insurgency, which unfortunately have become the dominant memory of the sub-region.
Appealing to the board to avoid the interference of any lapses in the intervention by providing the people what they need to better their lives.
With the collective wisdom, experience, and dedication of this board, I am confident that we will continue to make substantial contributions and bring the much-needed succor for the Northeast zone and indeed Nigeria at large.
The objectives of Mr. President to provide, to cushion the effects of the subsidy removal by procuring electric buses, CNG buses, so that the hardship of the entire people of the Northeast Development Commission will be reduced.
Access to quality education, healthcare, economic opportunities are part of the challenges the board is expected to address, as the Commission is a journey of hope and renewal to the Northeast. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Now to the Niger crisis, the Economic Community of West African States says the ECOWAS AU UN mission to the Republic of Niger did not take place on the 8th of August 2023. The mission was aborted following a late-night communication from the military authorities in Niger indicating their unavailability to receive the tripartite delegation. The planned mission was part of the continued efforts to find a peaceful resolution to the current crisis in Niger. Following the decision of the ECOWAS Extraordinary Summit held on the 30th of July 2023, the community will continue to deploy all measures in order to restore constitutional order in Niger. And Chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, President Bola Tinubu, has given consent to some Islamic leaders on the platform of Council of Ulamas in Nigeria to mediate in the Niger-Co situation. This is another step towards finding a peaceful solution to the unrest in Niger following the military takeover of government in the West African country. ECOWAS, under the chairmanship of the Nigerian president, had given an ultimatum to the military junta to return power to the elected president, Mohamed Bazoum. The bloc has scheduled an extraordinary summit for tomorrow, Thursday, to decide the next line of action following the expiration of the ultimatum. However, the Islamic leaders met with President Tinubu to intervene for a possible peaceful resolution. In search of peace in Niger, ECOWAS had deployed a series of delegations to meet with the head of the military government. The latest was that of the 14th Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, and the Sultan of Damagaram from Nigeria. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs is disturbed by developments unfolding in the Republic of Niger following the seizure of power by the military from a duly democratically elected leader, Mohamed Bazoum, through a coup d'etat. In a statement, the Council urges the leadership of both ECOWAS and Nigeria to protect democracy by discouraging peaceful takeover of power through military coup d'etat. Neighboring states, including Nigeria, having closed their borders and sanctions imposed by ECOWAS, the Council observes that with dismay that the military junta in Nigeria has remained defiant. The Council therefore calls on ECOWAS and in particular the Nigerian government to tread with caution in this regard. SCIA says thousands of Nigerian refugees to whom Niger provided succor and safe abode for several years, an act the Council describes as rare hospitality, should not be reciprocated with measures that could cause disaffection and hostility across both sides of the borders. The Council prays Almighty Allah to grant leaders the wisdom to resolve the crisis in Niger in a peaceful manner. Away from the crisis in Niger, Africa as a continent is blessed with abundant human and mineral resources that must be tapped for the benefit of Africans. This was part of submissions of participants at the ongoing African Bar Association Conference in Pretoria, South Africa. Judiciary correspondent Delia Tumbe reports that the theme of the conference is Building the Legal Profession in Africa under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
The discussion at the 2023 African Bar Association Conference are not only about law, the conference also taking a critical look at the huge benefits of this agreement to the 55 countries on the continent and the rest of the world. When the single market is on stream, participants are of the view that it will lower prices of goods and services as a result of increased competition and lower tariffs. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement is a pivot for economic growth and development as it is capable of attracting increased foreign direct investment, innovation and productivity. Continent's ability to get value for money also resonates at the conference.
The emergence of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, in which trading began in January and more specifically in October 2022, represents a historic opportunity for Africa to strengthen immeasurably intra-African trade as a powerful avenue for developing Africa's vast economic and material potential. As the adage goes, there is strength in unity, and for all 54 member states of the African Union, our strength lies with our numbers.
The ground norm of the agreement obviously is to bring African markets together so that we have a common place of freedom to trade between amongst ourselves, as opposed to going through third parties to trade amongst ourselves, which is what happens now. Right now you export to Euro refines it, brings it back to Africa, you send to your neighbor. The whole idea is that you can now do relationships between the African countries.
Africa as a continent would definitely benefit from the African Continental Free Trade Zone. All that the continent needs to do is to ensure that all countries within the continent come together to ensure that the goal is achieved. From Pretoria, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
And here in Nigeria, the Nigeria Police Force has launched Standard Operating Procedures (SOP) to achieve safe schools in the country. Acting Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun said the SOP is a comprehensive document that underscores the commitment of the force in safeguarding the nation's future by creating a secure and conducive learning environment for pupils and students. Francis Form tells us more.
It is the unveiling of the Nigeria Police Force Standard Operating Procedures. Since the April 14, 2014 Chibok schoolgirls kidnapped in Borno State and other similar cases, the safety of schools has become a major burden to the government and threat to the educational sector. In addressing these concerns, the federal government launched the Safe School Initiative, which aims to enable children affected by conflict and insecurity to continue with their education unhindered. And the Nigeria Police Force is at the forefront in safeguarding the schools, and the unveiling of the new squad and SOP manual is a major booster.
One of the cornerstones of our commitment is the establishment of the School Protection Squad. This specialized unit comprises highly trained officers who will be deployed to every state across the country. These officers are not just protectors, they are mentors, role models, and advocates for the safety of our students.
The national plan will be implemented between 2023 to 2026 with a total investment size of about 144.8 billion. To this end, the federal government has made adequate provision in the 2023 budget for 15 billion.
The National Security Advisor, in a message delivered by the National Coordinator, National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, Major General Abba Mohammed Dikko, reiterates the directive of President Tinubu on synergy in intelligence and information sharing at both strategic and tactical levels towards mitigating security challenges across the country.
I urge the Nigerian police to synergize with relevant security and law enforcement agencies, including other critical stakeholders, towards ensuring the success of this noble objective.
And this demand that all hands must be on deck to give Nigerians a true sense of safety and peace as they engage in their daily activities.
The Chief of Defense Staff and other service chiefs, the Nigerian Governors Forum, as well as other stakeholders, commended the steps taken so far by the police in the Safe School project. Francis Form, NTA News.
To other news, the House of Representatives condemns the abuse of recruitment waivers granted by ministries, departments and agencies of government by the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, alleging that some agencies hide under such waivers to commercialize personal recruitments. Chairman House had a committee investigating employment racketeering who stated this at Wednesday's hearing identified recruitment waiver as impediment to open recruitment in the country. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ekme reports.
Of government agencies have been appearing before the House ad hoc committee investigating alleged job racketeering to defend their recruitment lists and processes. It is the turn of the Energy Commission of Nigeria, and lawmakers frown at personnel recruitment without stipulated job advertisements in the media.
Since we have waiver not to advertise because of the problems that may ensue as a result of advertisement, we have a large number of applicants, and we have which will be difficult for us to manage. So we just select from the pool of applications we have unsolicited. They are there.
When you keep requesting for waiver on an advertisement, that means something is wrong somewhere.
So as long as you didn't advertise those positions, you decided to go for waiver to recruit over 200 staff. Will this committee be wrong? At the end of the day, sir, I need yes or no answer. Assuming this committee recommend at the end of the day to the federal government to ban issuance of waiver in the recruitment process, are we wrong to do that?
Meanwhile, the dust is yet to settle over alleged job racketeering at the Federal Character Commission. For the second day running, Kolo Haruna, who is in the eye of the storm over allegations against the chairman of the commission, failed to appear before the committee for cross-examination.
At least we have given benefit of the doubt twice. I think it's better Kolo listen to us and appear here. Unless if he is acting a script to misguide this proceeding and send lies across the federation.
The wait continues for Kolo Haruna to appear before the investigative committee to substantiate and further clarify his allegations. And for those who have been victims of job racketeering in agencies of government, the House of Reps probe into the matter provides some leeway to get redress and justice. But how soon will they get justice? Time will tell. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikmen, NTA News.
Now let's have a bit on gender matters. Women and children are the most affected in conflict situations, undisputable. This sad fact is providing a fresh impetus for the Republic of Germany and the Office of the First Lady of Nigeria to explore new collaboration that will provide wider protection for vulnerable women in Nigeria. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports that this was when a delegation from the German embassy visited the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu in Abuja.
Federal Republic of Germany is one of the 12 countries with feminist foreign policy, which defines its interaction with other states, prioritizing gender equality and human rights for women. And in Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, whose track record in charity work and women empowerment is renowned, the Germans found a worthy ally for needed collaboration. While leading a delegation from the German embassy to the office of the First Lady, German ambassador to Nigeria, Annette Gunther, says the interventions of our country in the energy sector, promotion of security reforms, and stabilization efforts in the Northeast are mostly driven by the desire to protect women and children.
We have taken notice of the energy transition plan, which is very ambitious and which we welcome very much, to reach zero emissions by 2060. It's still a long way to go, but we want to be a strong partner on that way. We have opened a hydrogen office. It's called German Nigerian Hydrogen Office.
Appreciating the Germans for past humanitarian assistance and interventions in Nigeria, the First Lady says her Renewed Hope initiative welcomes strategic support as she targets more women empowerment. She highlighted alternative school system and adult education for women alongside other interventions in key focal areas.
We, at least my office would love to assist, that whatever we can do to help those vulnerable groups that they've been displaced from their homes, we want to do that. So, and to hear that, you've been assisting us in some of the areas where we have conflict, I want to appreciate you and appreciate your country for that. Education is very key, because whatever it is, the government programs government have, if they are not educated, how would they know to be able to access all that is meant for them? So we have all this pocket of things that we believe that we can use to complement government and to support them from this office.
Appreciation of Nigeria's impressive democratic track record, as well as a stout defense of democracy in Niger Republic as a leading member of the ECOWAS bloc, also came up during the visit. In the State House, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has urged the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, to strengthen systematic mechanisms to attract second and third generation Nigerians in the diaspora to contribute towards nation building. The WTO DG said diasporans are capable of doing so much for Nigeria in different areas such as skills and knowledge transfer, especially as most countries of the world are fast embracing ICT.
They need come to go from strength to strength. There are so many things that the diaspora are capable of doing to support this country. As you know, Nigeria is one of the largest recipients of remittances from the diaspora. Billions of dollars coming, and there are ways and means we can work with the diaspora to make good use of these remittances.
Dr. Okonjo-Iweala expressed gratitude over a recent recognition. Still on women making impacts, Nigerian women over the years have utilized the avenue of commendation and celebration of excellence to encourage younger ones to be exceptional in different fields. One of these avenues is induction of such great achievers into the famous Hall of Fame established specifically for Nigerian women. Ngozi Technique in this report examines the significance of the Hall of Fame as a mark of unity amongst women against the notion that women do not love themselves.
Here is the famous Nigerian Women Hall of Fame. Today, I have the rare privilege of being conducted around the famous Hall of Fame in company of the Director General. Mirrored after the Hall of Fame for Great Americans, the famous Nigerian Women Hall of Fame came into existence in 1993 under the Better Life Program for Rural Women, courtesy of the then First Lady,
this is a woman that has given visibility to all Nigerian women.
The aim is to spotlight iconic and exceptional women who have achieved great feats in education, career, skills, or outstanding in their lifestyle, whether living or dead.
So the best way to encourage the woman is to celebrate those that have broken the ceiling. And that is why we recommend them for our women to come and see and aspire to be like them.
Latest among the inductees, the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and 7 others, coming after giving the edifice a facelift.
I recall with nostalgia that I was a member of the 9th Senate when the bill was passed and assented into law for the renaming of the National Center for Women Development, and I'm delighted to witness the actual renaming event today.
With several portraits of prominent personalities in the world of women depicting inductees in the Hall of Fame, the DG throws more light on the numbers so far inducted while giving words of caution.
We have over 100 women now that have been inducted since 1960 to date. We normally get nominations from states, from people that feel that these social individuals are qualified to be inducted. We collect their CVs and screen. So there's no politics about it, nothing religion, nothing at all, except that they are qualified.
This exhibit is what connects the entire Nigerian women together. It's what brings them together. This is where they will discuss their issues, make sure that whatever agenda they have for the development of the nation, especially the upbringing of the young children, is being discussed here, and from here it goes to the entire nation.
Our women are united. You see, if you want to know if anything touches any woman, the reaction of other women will tell you.
The Nigerian Women Hall of Fame is the crescendo of recognition for any woman. Ngozi Technique, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Ngozi, for that report. Let's take some time out now. When NewsExtra returns, health holds sway from the latest on striking resident doctors to globe. You're still watching NewsExtra. The National Executive Council of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has suspended its planned nationwide protest and picketing earlier scheduled to commence this Wednesday, 9th of August. A statement by NARD's president, Dr. Oji Emeka Innocent, explains that the decision was arrived at the end of meetings with the leadership of the Senate at the National Assembly on Tuesday in consideration of the commitment towards amicable resolution of the current disputes. The National Executive Council of NAD, however, says the strike continues in the face of an existing window where the association will convene to assess progress made so far as well as the next line of action. Meanwhile, in the face of the ongoing resident doctor strike, residents of Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital, are appealing for quick resolution to restore normalcy in the nation's public health sector. Abari Solomon reports.
It is no longer news that the recurring strike embarked upon by the National Association of Resident Doctors to press home their demands is taking its toll on the public. Residents of Lafia described the industrial action by the resident doctors as a setback to the nation's health sector, calling on the parties involved to devise another means of addressing their challenges for the sake of ordinary Nigerians who are at the receiving end.
The hardship in the country is affecting every single person. So I just hope that they totally find a solution, a lasting one this time around.
So while they go on trying to address those needs with government, they should find a way to balance between not making also their patients and ordinary Nigerians suffer.
I will appeal to the government to see their situation and do something about it because it touches life enough.
It will be recalled that the resident doctors embarked on the indefinite strike on July 26 because of the inadequate response by government to implement their demands. Some of the demands include payment of outstanding arrears of consequential adjustment, hazard and skipping allowance. Others are payment of the 2023 Medical Residency Training Fund and immediate release of the circular on 1-for-1 replacement and upward review of the consolidated medical salary structure. In Lafia, Abari Solomon, NTA News.
And it is exactly 15 days that the National Association of Resident Doctors down tools to press home their demands from the government, while patients groan over skeletal services received at health facilities in the FCT. This critical workforce says there is no going back. Aisha Obali has an update.
Say that public health facilities across the FCT are as silent as the graveyard may not be wrong if compared with the influx of patients who used to visit the hospital on a daily basis before the strike.
One wouldn't understand what the strike means unless you visit, especially a government health facility here in the FCT. And most of the hospitals we visited, we only met empty bed spaces, and the patients are appealing to those concerned, especially the doctors, irrespective of their plight, to resume work in order to save lives.
I witnessed a woman who came here with the baby. The baby was sick. They referred the woman to go to the emergency department. She went there was no doctor. She had to go with the baby.
Oluchi is not the only person in this. Temitope Oladipo is also pleading that the doctors resume work.
Those patients are people that doctors need to watch carefully and really look after them until they give birth and examine them until they give birth. But then those women were asked to go back home. What if a lot of them have complaints?
Carried around the hospital, here is 5-month-old Chudibem Sunday receiving first aid. But what would have been the fate of this mother if the condition of her baby was more critical?
I think the strike, to me, is not okay. They should call back the doctors.
The industrial action means less work for other health workers. The resident doctors believe this government has been magnanimous in listening to the plight of Nigerians, which has led to their suspension of a planned protest.
Yes, of course we know that the present administration is a very responsible type. For them at least to be listening to us, for them to be engaging us, for them to be having 1 or 2 discussions with us. So we believe it will end on a very good note and a positive note.
The resident doctors say the demands still remain the same and are hopeful that the government will address the issues so they can get back to work. In Abuja, Aisha Ubali, NTA News.
Doctors will appeal to resume work. Now, to other matters of concern, in a concerted effort to tackle drug abuse and trafficking, the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, met with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. This strategic meeting underscores their shared commitment and pursuit of mutual benefits in addressing these critical social issues. Abdulmalik Hassan reports.
The sunlit halls of the NDLEA headquarters in Abuja served as the backdrop for a significant and amicable meeting between the NTA management and the stalwarts of the NDLEA. The atmosphere was warm with handshakes, smiles and a palpable air of camaraderie, setting the stage for what was to come. Amidst the exchange of pleasantries, a sense of shared purpose and collaboration enveloped the room. With the small talk and introductions behind them, the NTA aimed to leverage its expansive reach and educational programs to amplify the fight against drug abuse and trafficking.
The Nigerian Television Authority, as a national broadcaster, holds a unique position in shaping public opinions and disseminating information. By leveraging an existence or the existing network, the NTA will play a crucial role in raising awareness about the dangers of drug abuse, highlighting the consequences, and promoting preventive measures.
Brigadier General Buba Marwa delivered a sobering account of the dangers posed by drug enterprise, with a staggering revelation that nearly 50 million Nigerians are ensnared by addiction.
It is the main ingredient that is pushing the criminals. So it's very, very important to our effort for the NTA, to stand up with us in this wise towards advocacy.
In the midst of this conversation, a rallying cry for combined efforts to address this multifaceted challenge was established. Abdulmalik Hassan, NTA News.
The partnership is key. Fighting drug abuse menace is everybody's business. Still talking health, to reduce the prevalence of malaria in Nigeria, key players in the health sector are advocating vaccination to accelerate efforts to bring to bearest the health burden before 2030. A survey by NOIPOLS indicates that malaria is pervasive and vaccination will help rid the disease. Malaria, pathologists say, is a life-threatening disease spread to humans by some mosquitoes. Mostly found in tropical countries, it is preventable and curable. Multiple reports show that children under 5 years, pregnant women, travelers, and people with HIV or AIDS are at higher risk of severe infection. These factors facilitated a survey to ascertain reasons malaria is still a major health concern within the African continent.
The vaccine was indicated for prevention of malaria in children aged 3 to 35 to 36 months. So it's against this backdrop that we conducted this poll to kind of understand perceptions, opinions, and what people think about malaria, its impact, and the ways we try to combat it.
The vaccines are to be continued and to be combined with existing tools to control malaria. Awareness of the availability of malaria vaccine needs to be intensified.
Because it's time to deliver zero malaria, they recommend cleaner environment, use of treated mosquito nets, and regular medical checks. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News. Well, I'm sure most people are familiar with the phrase, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Of course, this is extremely difficult to do at places across the globe where extreme temperatures are being experienced, a situation scientists say will run through the month of August. Not forgetting the aggravating consequences of wildfires. Adebola Brooklyn takes a look at environmental and health implications of climate change.
Climate change has continued to affect everything from geopolitics, economies to migration, shaping cities and life expectancies. A 20-year study found that more than 5 million people die each year globally due to excessively hot or cold conditions, while heat-related deaths are on the rise. Official data released by the World Meteorological Organization, WMO, indicates that July in 2023 became the hottest month ever recorded in human history. For World Health Organization, the rising heat is a rapidly growing health risk.
We're also concerned about the impact of extreme weather on the health of people who are displaced or living in conflict-affected or vulnerable settings.
The air is unbreathable, the heat is unbearable, and the level of fossil fuel profits and climate inaction is unacceptable.
The consequences became clear and tragic as vast parts of North America, Asia, Africa, and Europe were hit by heat waves. Iniobong Abiola Awe is the Director of Climate Change, Federal Ministry of Environment. She said global warming as a result of the burning of fossil fuels played a major role in the extremely high temperatures witnessed globally.
We also see the coastal erosion in the south and then the desertification in the northern part. All of this is also resulting into issues that are aggravating food security, migration. We have policies and there are also collaborations with the CSOs, NGOs aimed at increasing knowledge, capacity of the youth, of the schools.
The World Meteorological Organization has also predicted that heat waves engulfing different parts of the world are expected to persist all through August. The era of global warming, climate watchers say, has ended and the era of global boiling has arrived. However, they say limiting a global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius is still possible to avoid the very worst of climate change, but only with dramatic and immediate climate action. Adebola Brookslyn, NTA News.
Thank you, Adebola, for that report, but I will recommend you follow your doctor's health tips. Now, Chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, President Bola Tinubu, has given consent to some Islamic leaders on the platform of Council of Ulama in Nigeria to mediate in the Niger coup situation. This is another step towards finding a peaceful solution to the unrest in Niger following the military takeover of government in the West African country. ECOWAS, under the chairmanship of the Nigerian president, had given an ultimatum to the military junta to return power to the elected president, Mohamed Bazoum. The bloc has scheduled an extraordinary summit for tomorrow, Thursday, to decide the next line of action following the expiration of the ultimatum. However, the Islamic leaders met with President Tinubu to intervene for a possible peaceful resolution.
We want to find a lasting solution. We want peace and harmony to reign, not only in Nigeria, but in the sub-Saharan region and in globe as well. So the ulama advise Mr. President that we want peace and reconciliation.
The President, like he said, welcomed our intervention, and he has promised that if we could also talk to the people on the other side, for them to be ready to give concession, then ECOWAS, that he is chairman of, will also be ready. Other than that, the president deplored, coup d'etat in the Sahel region, and as a Democrat himself, he said he will do everything to ensure that there is democracy, justice, freedom, and peace in the sub-region. We as ulama are also committed to peace and justice. And the president will be enabling, the government will be enabling the ulama to mediate as it is appropriate.
In Nigeria, ECOWAS had deployed a series of delegations to meet with the head of the military government. The latest was that of the 4th Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, and the Sultan of Damagaram from Nigeria. Away from conflict management, National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) appeals to media houses in the country to continue to display unwavering commitment to the development of the broadcast industry. NBC says offsetting backlog license levies will enable the Commission tackle issues that might come up in the monitoring of the industry. Larry Bilay, who was at the stakeholders meeting, brings us details.
Gathered here are commissioners of information from different states and heads of media houses across the Federation, brainstorming on issues affecting the broadcast industry, profile solutions, as well as suggesting ways forward.
Our main discussion was on payment of license fee. Those who have not been able to pay their license fee should go back and see how much they owe the commission, and then come up with their payment plan. That's all what we're asking for.
For the state-owned organizations, the option is for state government to come to their aid. On behalf of the private stations, just like I said, the best way is to make the environment very interesting for them.
And they talked about backed up license fees that have not been paid and how it should be paid. An appeal was made to state governments to continue to fund their television stations and radio stations that are going comatose. These media moguls and commissioners share their thoughts on issues discussed.
We all know that in a regulatory environment, there is no way you stop the regulator from performing their functions. But we know that the economy is not as good as all of us would want it. So I believe that they should both come together, and find a workable solution.
So the NBC as a regulator must ensure that content and practice are being monitored such that whatever is going to be coming out of your station, content and monitor is effectively regulated or managed.
That broadcasting is not, it shouldn't really be looked at as a business per se. Government should be able to provide and fund the broadcaster because of the threat. The threat of social media is something that we need to do. We have to look at seriously.
Other issues discussed are the need to have a professional body for the media industry to promote mentorship and professionalism, and ways media houses can meet up with their statutory obligations to the National Broadcasting Commission. In Lagos, Larry Belayi, NTA News.
Correspondent on the move takes us to Farinruwa waterfalls, just as Borno people clamor for the return of railway to boost commerce. Details of these and more to come your way after this next break. Thanks for staying with the NTA. And it's time to talk business, and one of the businessmen I know, Musa, will dish out some reports for us. Musa.
Let's talk about technology. The use of technologies to drive growth and development continue to dominate discussions on how the digital space is reshaping the business environment and operations. Galaxy Backbone boss Professor Muhammad Abubakar said businesses can benefit from taking advantage of disruptive technologies. He said from 5G networks to artificial intelligence and IoT technologies at the forefront of reshaping industries across the globe, hence leveraging the full potential of modern digital tools. Technological innovation is the driving force behind economic progress as it introduces new technologies into production and consumption.
To coordinate properly and ultimately drive the transformation across everyone. You are also aware of the fact that out of the 7 unicorns that we have in Africa, 5 of them have their roots in Nigeria here. So you can see how much we are now putting in place, the policies in place, and ultimately we need to now liberate.
While economic watchers applaud the president's plan to strengthen the manufacturing sector by investing 75 billion naira in 75 enterprises, protecting local industries such as textiles by securing the country's land borders against the activities of smugglers is said to be needed for the growth and development of the textile industry in the country. This is as the few textile industries in the country continue to contribute to gross domestic product.
Anybody that wants to import anything into this country must go through the ports, because the borders hardly has any good check by the customs, and they evade levy. Because of the levy now, they can bring it into our country and sell it cheaper than what we have. Government tries to do that by placing levy ahead so that they don't come in and take over our markets and our jobs. We are giving jobs to other countries while we are suffering lack of employment in our country. And we keep our youth idle to the extent that they have no sustainable job. They graduate from university and they still go back to their houses.
The federal government, in a proof of commitment to ensuring the safety and well-being of students, has unveiled a funding plan for Safe Schools initiative, a project aimed at fortifying educational institutions across the nation. At the press briefing in Abuja, the National Coordinator of Financing Safe Schools in Nigeria, Halima Ilya Ibrahim, says under the recently developed national plan, a total of 144.8 billion naira is to be invested in the project for a period of 4 years. The plan, which aims to cover 50% of the most at-risk public schools within the implementation cycle, is to be funded through annual budgetary provisions from federal, states, local governments, as well as donor agencies. A quick look at the capital market. The equities market closed midweek trade negative. The all-share index shed 1.75% at 64,167.39 basis points. At the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, a total of 238 million shares in 6,001 deals, corresponding to a market value of 2.6 billion naira, were traded. Market capitalization declined to 34.9 trillion naira. And that concludes business news. Elizabeth, is back to you.
Thank you, Musa, for the updates. The ecosystem in Jigawa State supports mass agriculture and its vast grazing platform. In a twist, annual events within the ecosystem stopped agriculture, basic education, and public travels. It is a perennial malady that challenges the will of systems. Hamisu Rogo has a situation reports.
If Jigawa State were a woman, it would be a most adorable person. It is beautiful as a land area, and within the land area are ecosystem that guarantees survival for humans and livestock on a large scale and all year round. It is so resource rich. You need little brain to live above poverty here. Yet, within these ecosystems are dynamics that frequently upset living. Jigawa is blessed with multiple river systems that support all year round agriculture and animal life. Every year, however, the state comes under heavy flood. It cuts off roads, consumes agricultural produce, and dislocates settlements and community members. Flood waters affect close to 20 of the state's 27 local government areas. Communities are known to be sunk in flood waters, and interstate road blocked or bridges broken by flood waters, cutting off access to other states for months on end. I went to Jigawa to do a story on out-of-school children and the new federal drive to tackle the scourge through its alternate school program ASP of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. The story is, some communities in some 20 local government areas of Jigawa State do not access classes for upward of 5 months due to events of flood. Basic education authorities had to package radio programs to reach out to displaced children. And still another interplay between the environment and survival. Jigawa has one very unique feature.
Jigawa State is multi-ethnic, and among the ethnicities, there are so many cultural and economic traits that makes one tribe different from the other. I am particularly in a Fulani settlement. Now, I'm interested in this settlement because over 60% of the people of Jigawa State are Fulani. And in fact, there are over 5 million herds of cattle in Jigawa State.
Jigawa is a vast grazing area. In fact, on that scope is supposed bull culture that defines the rural economy of the entire state. This perhaps is the major influence of its vast nomadic Fulani population. They are known to arrive Jigawa from all of northern Nigeria and from Niger and Algeria for pasture. Yet, nomadism does not allow their children to be at school.
About 23,000 children that are out of school. So that's
These are nomadic Fulani.
Yes, nomadic children. Nomadic children. We had the census last year. So that's what even drives us to establish a mobile school.
I went to some nomadic Fulani settlements in part of Jigawa and to find out what they do with their lives when they are not in motion. Many of them come to realize that the current bad blood against Fulani in most parts of the country is for their lack of education. Now they are having a second thought. In this settlement, the Fulani have made their children disposed to mobile schools. Both the children and the parents show great excitement with the development. Yet, where they get is a far cry from their requirement. Sure enough, the new federal drive through ASP must come forward and answer its name.
We visited literally every state. We have pinpointed at least a spot per state. This is necessary so that we will also learn. This is new to Nigeria. Nigeria is trying to evolve a process for the world, a process for Africa, even for Asia.
The story is an ending. Still, when rain sets in Jigawa, farmlands compete with the school for the state children. It is a perennial battle that has no end in sight. In Jigawa State, Muhammad Hamis Rogo, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Rogo, for your efforts, and they seriously need the attention of the government. Still staying in Jigawa, more than 400 million naira will be shared to the needy and vulnerable members of Dutse Emirate in Jigawa State as part of this year's Zakat distribution flagged off by the Emir of Dutse, Hamid Nuhu Mohammed Sanusi. Ibrahim Bello tells us more.
This Zakat model, adjudged to be one of the best and pioneer Zakat model in the country, was first initiated by late Emir of Dutse Nuhu Mohammed Sanusi to collect this Zakat from wealthy individuals in the society and shared among the deserving members who are Muslim, vulnerable and poor. The Zakat committee collected more than 400 million naira in cash, animals and grains. The cash and other items were collected by the Dutse Emirate Zakat Collection and Distribution Committee under the supervision of Emir of Dutse Hamid Nuhu Mohammed Sanusi. The gesture targets more than 4,000 needy and vulnerable members of the Emirate. The Emir had, while flagging off the Zakat distribution in Dutse district, says the flood experienced last year affected the quantity of grains collected as Zakat, but commended the people of the Emirate for giving out the highest cash Zakat this year.
We have district heads, village heads and ward heads. They are the ones at the grassroots. They know the kind of the people they live with, and they are the ones that identify the ones that need this charity the most. So they are the ones that come up with the list of names of people who deserve to collect this, and they forward it to us, and we just disperse it.
The beneficiaries include some individuals of the Christian faith who have been collecting the Zakat for many years. Commended the Emir, saying the Zakat money will go a long way in cushioning the economic hardship facing them.
This Zakat of these 2 years now. I'll collect this Zakat.
What will you use it for?
I use that to buy food, eat with my family. I pray for those who provide for us.
I will buy foodstuff. I am taking care of orphans.
Zakat is one of the pillars of Islam and is collected and distributed to deserving members in the particular locality it is collected. In Dutse, Ibrahim Bello, NTA News.
Now, within the confines of Nigeria, a landmass in excess of 900 square kilometers with wonderful creations and creatures. Abdullah Mohammed was out tracing the footsteps of those who discovered one of Nigeria's highest waterfalls.
It's a treasure hunt we embarked upon, and a goodbye to Lafia, the capital of Nasarawa State, sets us on track. Conceived with precipitation was the atmosphere, and off the highway we were at Akwanga. And after a while, Wamba ushered us, and leaving the old city, we took a turn to Kwara. But just before Kwara, off the third road we were. It's a rural road with all its imperfections put forward by the downpours. But that's not treacherous. Its twists, turns, slopes and steeps were.
It was a trip through thick and thins, meandering curves and sloping down steps. And here we are. Inside is our destination, Parurua.
Tough climbs for the SUV and the test of a wild food while severing the beauty of a flowing stream. Its roots tapping from our destination. 2 more streams to cross and the vehicle's roll ended. Some few meters of work we were welcome into the vicinity of our destination. Here are the tips of paradise on earth, with some trees bowing to the powers of the wind, and over them we crossed.
And finally, after all the hassles, we have arrived at Farurua Waterfall. What an awesome environment, a beauty to behold, a kingdom of tourism waiting to be unleashed for the world to discover.
We are gradually shifting away from an era where government now is investing in public enterprises.
And that's a beautiful, beautiful waterfall there, a very beautiful tourist site. We do apologize anyway for that glitch. Let's move on. In celebration of this year's popular Osun Osogbo Festival, Guinness Nigeria, through Origin, the leading alcoholic blend of African herbs and fruits, has given out a 4 million naira grant to 40 artisans in Osun State. The empowerment program held at the Palace of Atoja of Osogbo was to encourage Nigerians to embrace their roots. Femi Afariogun reports.
Days to the grand finale of one of the most celebrated annual festivals in Nigeria, Osun Osogbo. Origin, the lead sponsor of the festival, has empowered 40 people with 100,000 naira each for their businesses. With keen interest on giving back to the root and promoting culture across tribes in Nigeria, Origin has now made life better for the beneficiaries.
I'm very excited because it's not easy. This time around, and it's Nigeria now, I will add to my business to improve my business. If I got grace by next year, I will be one of the persons that will become a business test. I'm very happy.
Origin has done a lot. They have been doing it every year. We really appreciate them because they did a great thing that we've never expected from them, but they did it.
It gives the beneficiary the opportunity to have something done instead of being idle. So I really appreciate it.
The custodian of Osun Osogbo Festival and Atauja of Osogbo Land, Obajimo Olanipekun, says the festival symbolizes blessing, development, which Origin has brought to the festival.
And we have people in Nigeria today that are living on 10,000 naira per month as their salary or take home. So I say kudos to you, to your factory, that you have helped us a lot. Many people are benefiting from you in multiples of 40 every year. God will continue to enrich your company.
With 12 million naira given to 120 youth in Osun State in the last 3 years, the marketing manager, Mainstream Spirits, and RTS Guinness Nigeria PLC, Uche Umundiwe, reiterated the company's commitment as fostering sustainable growth, positively impacting communities, and preserving cultural heritage. In Osogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
And from Osogbo, we move to Borno, which is the farthest part of Nigeria from any of the seaports along the coastal areas, making transporters of goods think twice before setting off. Today, rail tracks in some nations are degraded colonial relics. Milka Malam reports that residents of the Home of Peace are calling for activation of the rail lines to ease movement of humans and goods.
Certainly, Nigerian rail system had in the 1960s to the late 90s provided cheaper, affordable and safe means of haulage to Borno using colonial structures and railway system using locomotive trains. The Maiduguri railway terminus was commissioned on November 30, 1964 by the then Prime Minister Abubakar Tafawa Balewa to give people of the far northeast a viable transport system to support commerce, the trans-Saharan trade routes and landlocked neighboring countries. Ever since, the rail system has continued to serve as the most convenient and efficient means of transportation, mostly patronized by business operators, as it is hardly affected by human and natural conditions.
In the 70s, most of petroleum cargo, about 70% of petroleum product that comes to this part of the country, is being transported by rail. If it is being revived, most of the goods, petroleum product that are coming is going to help a lot in terms of immediate supply of petroleum product.
We face a lot of problem in transportation because that of rail is cheaper than the transport. How we wish if we could get the train back here.
While much of development in Borno and the trans-Saharan trade could be attributed to train services, many factors have led to the collapse of the viable means of transportation that included the insurgency. Railway terminus, vandalized and degraded rail line and facilities are awaiting revival and upgrading of rail gauge and sleepers for return of the trains. Due to its capacity to convey vast quantities of goods and passengers and at low cost, rail transport no doubt plays an essential role in the state's economy and industrial development.
Train system or the railway service is actually very, very helpful in terms of development of commerce, movement of persons and services, movement of goods and the likes. Before the sudden increase in the cost of diesel, a trailer load of goods from Lagos to Maiduguri, you spend about 300,000 or 350,000 naira, and now you spend over 1 million naira.
Had it been the railway is very functional. All these trucks carrying petroleum products from the south to the far north, and then other goods, containers, trailers moving goods from the port. The railway should have been the best option. Some of the roads are not designed to carry that capacity of load on it. So I think the railway should be given top priority.
It was and remains the cheapest and safest means of transportation, handling passengers and large amounts of haulage. Business operators are optimistic that revival of the railway system will stimulate economic growth, especially in states like Borno. In Maiduguri, Milka Malam, NTA News.
I do agree. If fully revived, it will solve some of our transportation challenges. Well, hang on there.
Available from 1 August. Go TV. Love it.
It's still NewsExtra on NTA. Now let's head to Lagos, where a fatal accident involving an articulated truck and other 6 vehicles occurred Wednesday on Alaka Bridge in Surulere. Ese Onwamaka completes the story.
The multiple crash accident which occurred on Alaka Bridge in the Surulere area involving a moving truck and 6 other vehicles brought the traffic to a halt around the Ikbori area.
This is Alaka Bridge, situated in Surulere Local Government Area Council, where a multiple accident occurred involving an articulated truck which crashed into 6 vehicles. At the time of filing this report, about 2 people have sadly lost their lives and 5 people rushed to the hospital. Also, emergency responders were on ground to salvage the situation.
Eyewitness accounts revealed that the incident happened in a twinkle of an eye and described it as unfortunate.
I was coming from Lawanson, then I saw the accident. I asked people, they say, that trailer that's moving now, the fair brake. So when the fair brake, it hit. There was another accident here. The first one happened here. So hold up. There's hold up. So when that one fair brake now, so we begin to jam the whole motor.
This is the trailer, the fair brake.
right from that side coming here, the tail brake. Then other vehicle was on the back, then he hit other vehicle, the other vehicle moved away to hit other vehicle from on the front. That's why I called the accident.
Reacting to the incident, the FRSC sector commander, Babatunde Farinloye, who spoke on phone, attributed the cause of the accident to overspeeding on the part of the articulated truck driver and advised truck owners to always ensure that their vehicles are in good condition before putting them on the highway. However, the conduit area has since been opened to traffic. In Lagos, S.A. Owamaka, NTA News.
It's important we will be all safety rules on the road. Though not exactly wanted, they exist in cities usually to provide alternatives and low-budget shelter for low-income earners. Recently, slums, as they are called in the Federal Capital Territory, have been identified by security observers as threats to the security architecture of the nation's capital. This is because they have become hideouts for criminals. What measures are authorities taking to address the trend? Onotu Yakubu brings us insights.
From Durumi to Mabushi, Garkin Village, Gishiri and Karumajigi on the airport road, among others, are illegal structures which are counterproductive to Abuja master plan. In this form, they also serve as makeshift shelter for those who may be unable to cope with the reality of choice accommodations in Abuja. But beyond this fact, also speaks to the reality of threats these locations harbor against security of residents.
Some places here, if you go, you see a house under the bush, which a woman being cannot stay there in the daytime. You go there, you see a lady's bags, you see a wallet, you see so many things there. It's happening here in Gishiri here.
People have been trying to their own best to see that when there's any new face within the domain, they give report and we intervene.
To my left is the Minister's Hill, located in Maitama. Now, the reality around this environment is that this highway interchange is the only boundary between Maitama to my left and Gishiri, one of the slums located in Abuja that has over time provided safe haven for suspected criminals. The proximity between Maitama and Gishiri gives credence to the reality and challenges that residents of these highbrow areas in the city are faced with. Gishiri is notorious for crime and criminality in Mabushi and environs, as residents' accounts indicate network of suspected criminal syndicates operating in the areas linked to Mpape and as far as Mararaba.
It is the responsibility of government and all relevant authority to think through and collaborate with these locals so that these criminals can actually be fished out and dealt with accordingly.
While cults and gangster syndicates hold sway with armed robbery, bulldozers of the FCT administration are constantly in overdrive to some of these locations to arrest excesses, in addition to the sustained raid of such high-risk areas by Security Joint Task Force led by the FCT Police Command.
The Command SIB have been deployed. They are living among those people to gather intelligence, and we've been working on it a lot. A lot of raids have been conducted and a lot of achievements have been gotten.
The FCT administration have been on top of her game to ensure that these shanties and legal structures do not remain.
While these reactive efforts are being put in place, residents are hopeful that the remedial measures will yield respite. In Abuja, Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
Bottom line, be security conscious always. We take a final break for the night and then bring you trending news around sports in just a moment.
Oh, that's wonderful! And that is what champions do!
Now, good football with a talk.
He has nailed that!
Now, only GoTV fit give you all the La Liga.
Game changer!
Serie A.
And it's into the net again.
Premier League and other better football competitions. Get your GoTV decoder, GoTenna, and 1 month GoTV Max subscription for only 9,900 Naira. Terms and conditions apply. GoTV. Love it.
You have to move from the point where you protect and defend your religion
to a point where you also recognize the rights of the other person, of the other religion, and protect it. So if I am protecting my own territory and my own people and trying to emphasize their rights and protect their rights, I should also be thinking about how to protect the rights of the others.
Both Islam and Christianity recognize and defer to God, and both recognize the temporariness of the life of this world, and that ultimately we all go back to God for the day of reckoning, when everybody will render an account of his life on this temporary abode.
Our boss was like, a decent fashion designer only gets home at midnight. Midway.
Man like Osime, Papa just the chop Italian league like Oha.
These are real housewives of Abuja. Those women are fire. What does OJ say again? A relationship with money is Alhamdulillah. Because they wear uniform, you want to treat people anyhow. Imagine this officer, I will clear our line.
Don't cost. Bruh, come on there. That is no matter. The biggest dragon for Westeros, now is slow picking face arm, climb down, right arm like Formula 1. Here, catch me.
He found the gold and asked her for just shaking me a piece of the pie, and she killed him for it.
Obini, fair women, no.
No one tells a story like we do. Showmax, Africa's original streaming service.
Talking sports now, the victory achieved by head coach of the female national basketball team, the Tigress, Reina Wakama, at the just concluded 2023 FIBA AfroBasket in Kigali, Rwanda, has drawn commendations from Nigerians as they urge the Basketball Federation to retain her services. Sports correspondent Clement Olontoba has details.
The quest to secure the fourth consecutive AfroBasket title for Nigeria's D Tigress started with the appointment of a new head coach. On the 29th of June 2023, the Nigeria Basketball Federation, in an unexpected fashion, unveiled 31-year-old Reina Wakama on a 2-year contract to fill up the vacuum left by American Otis Hewley, who had won back-to-back titles for Nigeria. With little time to prepare for the big task ahead, the newly appointed head coach, Reina Wakama.
Last time I watched a training camp, it's very, very, very impressive. She knows the loopholes to cover, and she will be the modern basketball to Nigeria for us, and this is amazing.
To basketball enthusiasts, this feat achieved by the
female coach to coach girls, a female player, D Tigress, and they got to the finals, then that means there is a synergy somewhere.
Worthy of note is that the achievement of Reina Wakama did not come overnight, as the former basketball player turned coach has previously worked as an assistant coach and also as director of football operations at the Manhattan College, New York. In Abuja, Clement Oloruntoba, NTA News.
Now what a man can do, a woman can do better. Congratulations to the Tigers. And that's NewsExtra today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Remain responsible always.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
From north to south, from east to west, we share one blood in our veins. The blood of Nigeria, Nigeria's blood proud and strong.